call late last night, thank you, Michelle, that he was needed to be the alternate speaker for today. Luckily, he had a prepared speech, but hadn't had time to really practice. He thanks you in advance for your patience and mercy. Come on up here.
Please don't be too precipient today with me. So, good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow members and guests. I ask you a question. Who here has been to New York City? For those of you that you have, I'm sure you've had the distinct pleasure to ride the New York City subway.
Yes.
For those of you who haven't, I don't know if you're going to want to after some of the stories that I'm going to communicate with you today from the experience that I've had commuting on the subway. The subway is a complicated, confusing, yet functioning circulatory system of New York City. And I say circulatory system because just like your blood brings oxygen and nutrients to your cells, the subway brings millions of people every day to their various destinations and deposits them along their way. Now on the subway, you have all walks of life. You have businessmen, teachers, students, families, trained performers, all walks of life. Anyone and everyone rides the subway, and this can make for some wildly entertaining rides or downright miserable. This morning I'm going to share with you a couple of those experiences that I've had over the years. And the reason is my wife has always told me that I should write a book about all the times I've had on the subway, but I don't have the time nor the patience to do that, so I figured a 5-minute speech would suffice that. Okay. On the subway, there are certain types of people that you will encounter almost on a daily basis. No matter what train you take, no matter where you're going, no matter your destination, you will see these people. And as a former New Yorker, we have names for these people. They're either the bongo players that come on to bang the bongos, you have the beat boys that come on and do their breakdancing, you have the bootleg guy where you can buy a movie for $5 that's in the theaters. Alright, and then you have the good old panhandler. Now, most of these people don't bother me. Some people get annoyed by them. But to be honest, they don't bother me personally, as long as they don't smell, you know. But there is one person that is universally loathed and hated by all subway riders. This person has caused people to switch cars or to get off that train entirely and take another train. And this has caused me to do both.
Wow.
And this person is called the Preacher Man.
Oh.
The Preacher Man will scream on his top of his lungs about how God or Jesus has saved their lives. Now, I'm no religious man myself, but I understand religion has its purpose and has done a lot of good in this world. But I don't need to hear about it at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to work, and of course this guy gets on the train, he's standing right next to me, and he's screaming on the top of his lungs about God and Jesus say this, and yelling at everyone that they need to accept Jesus and God in their lives. Now you might think this takes a few minutes. Au contraire. This gentleman got on at Nostrand Avenue, Brooklyn, and he kept going all the way until Manhattan. Now, truth be told, I don't know when he stopped, because I actually got off the train when I was able to switch that I would take another train to work. For all I know, he could keep on going. Who knows? Second story I'd like to share with you this morning. I used to work in Lower Manhattan when I was 19 years old over the summer break, and every day I would take the 5 train home. Now during rush hour on the 5 train, this train is completely packed. I mean, we're in there like sardines. The reason being is that that's the only train on the east side. So you can imagine how many people would ride that train at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. A man gets on the train with this humongous trunk, and he pushes it on, and literally has to push people out of the way to get this thing up. this man thinks it's a great idea to put on a magic show for everyone. His first trick he pulls out of his trunk is a hat, a top hat. And he does this little thing with the wand, and out pops a rabbit. A live rabbit on the subway during rush hour. Unbelievable. Now, as you can imagine, people are getting visibly annoyed. For me personally, I'm laughing because this is so unbelievable. I can't believe this is happening on the train. For his next trick, he does the old multi-ribbon. He pulls his sleeves up, he does the whole ribbon out of his mouth, the whole 9 yards. He goes on with that. And then for his grand finale, he pulls out of his trunk an empty box, and he shows it to everyone. He then closes it, and then opens it again, and magically a live white pigeon shows up in the box.
Oh my gosh.
So then he closes it, puts it away. Now, whenever a performer is done on the train, they normally will walk around and collect money, for their troubles. So while this man is walking around and collecting money from everyone, the pigeon somehow gets loose. And this thing is flapping and flying around. Everyone is screaming. I'm beside myself. I'm crying. I'm laughing so much. And all of a sudden, now I mentioned this was summer, so all of a sudden the bird somehow lands on the ground and then flaps up into this woman's long skirt.
Oh no!
So, nice of me. The magician literally has to walk over, go under, and pick this fish and put it back in the trunk. But I gotta hand it to him. He finished the show, he closed up his trunk, and then he got off the train.
Oh man.
These are just a couple of the many stories that I have had while riding the subway. Most of the time it's pretty routine. You get on the train, hopefully you get a seat, read a book, listen to music, talk to your friends. You get off, and then you go about your business. But every so often, you get to experience something you can truly never forget, and you can't get anywhere else but on a New York City subway. Thank you.